Every human being has the power to change and grow. We all have the capacity to break free from our past, overcome bad habits, and transform into better versions of ourselves. This ability to change is present within every person, no matter how lost or broken they may feel. No one is beyond hope, and no one is stuck in their mistakes forever. But change doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual process that requires time, patience, and something that is becoming increasingly rare in today's fast-paced world. Creating space for transformation means providing an environment where growth is possible. It means offering a supportive, non-judgmental atmosphere where someone can find their way toward healing and change. It's about recognizing that transformation is not a straight path. It's messy, unpredictable, and often filled with setbacks. People stumble. They resist change. They fall back into old habits and repeat the same mistakes before they can truly understand and embrace a new way of being. Those who understand this process don't judge or condemn. Instead, they hold space. Holding space is not about excusing harmful behavior or pretending that everything is acceptable. It doesn't mean ignoring injustice or allowing hurtful actions to continue. Instead, it's about believing in the possibility of change, even when it's not yet visible. It's about refusing to define someone by their worst moments or their most regrettable actions. Holding space means seeing beyond the surface, beyond the mistakes, and recognizing the deeper potential that still exists within each person. When we hold space for someone's growth, we are not forcing them to change. We are not demanding that they become something different on our timeline. Instead, we are simply offering a supportive presence that allows them to discover their own capacity for transformation. This is an act of profound love and compassion. It requires patience, faith, and a willingness to look beyond appearances. Many people believe that those who have caused harm or made terrible mistakes are beyond redemption. They think that once a person has done something bad enough, they are no longer deserving of forgiveness or a chance to change. But this belief only makes healing more difficult. When we write people off as being incapable of growth, we reinforce the very patterns that keep them stuck. We make it harder for them to find their way towards something better. The truth is, transformation often begins with a shift within. But it can be sparked by the presence of someone who believes that change is possible. When a person is drowning in guilt, shame, or self-destructive habits, they may feel too broken to be healed. They may believe that their mistakes are too great, their pain too deep, to ever find their way back to the light. In these moments, the presence of someone who sees their potential, who sees beyond their faults and failures, can be the key to their awakening. However, this does not mean that transformation can be forced. No one can make another person change. Each individual must choose their own path and decide for themselves what kind of person they want to become. But what can be done is to hold a vision for that person's potential, to see beyond their wounds and their mistakes, and to reflect back to them the truth of who they really are. No one is beyond love. No matter how far someone has strayed from their own goodness, no matter how much harm they have caused, they are still capable of remembering their own light. Those who hold space for transformation are not trying to force this recognition upon them, but are simply keeping the possibility open. They do not shut the door or give up. They hold on to hope, even when it seems impossible. Forgiveness is a crucial part of this process. To forgive is not to excuse harmful actions or to pretend that pain was not caused. It is not about minimizing the impact of someone's behavior or saying that their actions were acceptable. Forgiveness is about releasing the need for punishment and freeing both oneself and the other person from the weight of resentment. When someone is held in unforgiveness, they remain trapped in a cycle of guilt and defensiveness. They stay stuck in their past, unable to move forward. True, unconditional forgiveness creates a space for transformation. It allows a person to see themselves not as the sum of their mistakes, but as someone who is still worthy of growth and healing. This does not mean that the harm caused should be ignored or that accountability is unnecessary. Accountability and forgiveness can coexist. They are both essential for true transformation to occur. This concept of holding space for transformation applies not only to individuals but also to societies as a whole. Nations, governments, and institutions that have caused harm can also change and grow. But they cannot evolve through shame and punishment alone. They must be given the space to reflect, to be held accountable, and to find a path toward healing and growth. Without this space, the patterns of harm and injustice continue to repeat themselves. In today's world, so much of the division and hatred comes from a refusal to believe in the possibility of transformation. People are quick to label others as irredeemable. They assume that those who think differently act differently, or have made mistakes are incapable of change. This attitude locks everyone into their roles and leaves no room for growth, redemption, or healing. But love does not see people as fixed or static beings. Love sees potential. It sees what is waiting to be awakened. It understands that transformation is often painful and difficult, but it never stops believing that it is possible. This is not to say that holding space for transformation is easy. It is often a challenging and painful process. It requires deep introspection, a willingness to face one's own darkness, and a commitment to doing the hard work necessary to change. But the process becomes infinitely harder when the world refuses to believe that change is possible. If someone is constantly told that they will never change, that they will always be defined by their worst actions, it becomes that much harder for them to break free from their past. True transformation is not about ignoring what has been done. It is about creating space for what can be done next. It is about recognizing that the past does not have to define the future. It is about allowing people and societies to grow and evolve. Not everyone will choose to transform. Some will remain stuck in their patterns, unwilling or unable to change. But those who hold space for transformation do not give up on the possibility of growth. They do not guarantee that change will happen, but they ensure that the possibility always exists. At its core, holding space for transformation is an act of faith. It is a belief in the fundamental goodness of the human spirit. It is a commitment to looking beyond fear, hatred, and judgment, and seeing the truth of love. When people are given the space to change, when they are not defined by their worst moments, when they are held in the light of possibility, rather than the shadow of condemnation, true miracles can happen. People transform. Relationships heal. Societies evolve. And the world becomes a better place for everyone. Ultimately, it is the faith in transformation that gives life its deepest meaning. It is the recognition that no matter how lost someone may seem, there is always a path forward. A path built on love, patience, compassion, and the willingness to hold space for the possibility of change.